Hello, guys. This is Sapphire Youngman with the season finale of American Horror Story Coven, titled "The Seven Wonders." This is the 13th and final episode of the third season, and I thought it was pretty good. So the show starts off with the witches prepare their powers to compete in the Seven Wonders as Nikki Stick sings Seven Wonders in the first floor of the academy. The witches begin their trials with telekinesis. Telekinesis is moving objects with your mind. And all four witches pass the trial. The next is concilium, which is mind control. So, making somebody do something against their will. Missy and Queenie succeed on each other. Madison, instead of demonstrating her power on Zoe, makes Kyle, now the new caretaker, drop his tray of beverages and walk over to Madison to kiss her. Zoe responds by making Kyle do the same thing. Madison is furious. Oh wow, I mispronounced the words today. Madison is furious and makes him choke Zoe. The altercation is broken up by Cordelia. I'm like, you're supposed to be focusing on trying to be next supreme. They's over here trying to make each other jealous. I'm like, really? We don't have time for childish things. Because even in this episode, Fiona makes not Fiona, Cordelia makes quotes to Bible lightly that when I was a child, I thought like a child and I did childish things. But when I became a woman, I put away childish things and acted, pretty much saying, when you're a child, you're going to do childish stuff. You're like, but when you're an adult, you have to put away that stuff and you have to become an adult because, you're an adult. You can't be doing things you did as a kid and you can't be doing it as an adult. Even though some people, sadly, live in a childish world 24/7, and it makes it impossible to function in real life because when you go to the bank, you can't be sitting there drawing with crayons, okay? You can't be writing checks with crayons. I'm saying when you're an adult, you do adult things. If you want in your spare time when you're at your house, then go ahead and pop in your childhood, pop in some Disney films, or play with some Legos, or play with a Barbie. Okay, just do that at home. Don't do it in public. For the next challenge, all four witches must perform Decennium, traveling to a personal hell, a sun-up deadline for their return. So if the souls do not return to their bodies before the sun comes up, they stay there. And so they have to make sure they get back quickly because time works differently in hell than it does on the mortal plane. Don't you? This you just love that those supernatural things. Like when it comes to time, time works differently. So Queenie, Madison, and then Zoe return. Okay, so Queenie, we know her personal hell is the chicken thing. Madison's personal hell was she was in The Sound of Music and she wasn't even the main lead. Zoe's personal hell was Kyle breaking up with her over and over again. Time expires and Missy, unable to return from her hell, disintegrates to ashes. Missy's personal hell was constantly bringing this frog back to life and having to kill it while still alive. So that was her personal hell, and she didn't return. So her body disintegrated to ashes. The next trial is transmutation or teleportation. The three remaining witches succeed and play a game of tag with the power. However, Zoe ends up teleporting on a pike over the academy's gateway and dies. My thing is though, the academy is across the street from people's houses. So how the hell don't people see these girls transporting all over the goddamn place and one ends up impelling herself on a pike? Don't you? I just noticed that it was in situations in the horror movies, which I would actually probably do a video on for my first vlog. Horror movie, horror movie cliches. I'm gonna call it horror movie cliches. But it's certain things like that just annoy me. Like, really, who does not see this? So, Queenie fails to revive Zoe, removing her from the Seven Wonders running, because that's one of the techniques of Seven Wonders, is by bringing somebody, is by performing the Vitalum Vitalis, I think something else. All these Latin names. So Madison refused to revive her and instead proves her power by killing a fly and reviving it. So if Queenie fell on that task, Madison is the sole remaining supreme candidate. And Fiona's kind of upset by that. It's like, because Madison's like, Fiona, I mean, not Fiona. Cordelia's upset by this because Madison's like, Fiona had a good idea, when I become supreme, I'm going to leave Dodge. And then Fiona's like, Cordelia, why keep saying Fiona? Cordelia's like, if Madison's all we have for the next supreme, then maybe this coven should die out because the coven is supposed to protect one another. And with people like Fiona and Madison, they're only looking out for themselves, which is not benefiting the Coven. You're supposed to, as a Supreme, you're supposed to help usher in a new generation of witches, teaching them about their powers, teaching them about the, helping them, building self confidence. That how like people go to camp, supposed to boost your confidence, all this stuff. That's what the Supreme is supposed to do. She is a mentor to these young women, and without Fiona wasn't a mentor, so Cordelia had taken the job. And with Madison trying is currently the Supreme candidate for Supreme, the cat seriously the Coven is freaking doomed. So Myrtle convinces Cordelia to take the trial since she is of royal blood because her mama was the Supreme. So, kind of like, maybe, you could be possibly the Supreme. So, Cordelia succeeds in the first 4 challenges, and then Madison and Cordelia compete at divination, which Madison fails. Madison curses and leaves to pack her belongings. Pack her belongings to return to Hollywood and threatens to expose the Coven publicly. However, she did not expect this, but she really should. Kyle enters the room and chokes her to death for her refusal to bring back Zoe. Like, my thing is, you should have known this was coming. Like, for real, as much as Kyle loves Zoe, and not only that, he is no longer a mortal boy. Y'all done brought this boy back to life. So I would not call him a zombie because zombies supposed to be mindless and brainless, and kind of all he wanted to do is eat your flesh. So I'm gonna go with ghoul, which I'm pretty sure that's what Kyle will be. It's a ghoul. So she ends up killing her. Like, then she tried to cry her way out, and he's like, "You're not good of an actress," and just kills the broad. I was like, damn. But seriously, she should have saw that coming. As much as they loved each other, like, seriously, bro, you really thought this dude wasn't? You really thought Kyle wasn't going to do anything to you? Come on now. So Cordelia performs the Cilium and returns, and then immediately performs transmutation. And Cordelia's hell was her mother trying to get the approval from her mother and getting bitch slapped over and over again. That's gotta suck. Her final task, Vitalum Vitalis, is bringing Zoe back to life. She succeeded and fainted shortly after. When she awakes, her vision is restored, and having completed the final trial in the 7 wonders, is proclaimed the new Supreme. Spalding appears to Kyle and states to him he is the help, and he takes Matt. They decide he tells Kyle to bury Madison's body because she was already packing, so it looked like she would have left. Cordelia decides to go public about the witches and their powers in a television interview. Files and a map show emerging witches nationwide. Myrtle reminds Cordelia that she herself must pay for killing the other council members. Cordelia resists, saying that Myrtle has been like a true mother for her, but Myrtle insists that once again she should be burnt at the stake. Cordelia pronounces her sentence and sets her ablaze. Young women surround the academy waiting to take their place as students. Cordelia officially invites Queenie and Zoe to be her counselor, and they accept. Downstairs, Fiona awaits her. Fiona expounds that the X-Men assisted her and that she implanted a vision into him of killing her. Even though Fiona is quite ill in age, she is still trying to make good on her plan to kill the new Supreme. Fiona expounds that when Cordelia was born, Fiona knew of her impending mortality and that she must die for her daughter to truly live. Cordelia laments that Fiona was always her villain. Handing Cordelia a knife, Fiona insists that her daughter put her out of her misery now that she is powerless. Cordelia declares that no one can help her move on to the end and that Fiona must let herself go. As they hug, Fiona dies in Cordelia's arms. Fiona then awakens, young and restored, to a rooster crowing outside a farmhouse, where the X-Men's vision of idyllic life together is played out. She is repulsed, and he tells her that every morning she'll wake unaware of what has transpired. She wants Cordelia back. While this place and situation are the X-Men's heaven, for Fiona, they are her hell. In the background, Papa Legba, having claimed Fiona's soul, smiles at her. Kyle, as the new butler, opens the door for the new students. They settle in, and Cordelia declares to the assembly that the purpose is no longer to simply survive, but to thrive. So overall, that was a pretty good episode. So I kind of feel bad for Fiona because for the X-Men, this is heaven. He's with his love. He's catching fish. He's in a beautiful little cabin with his woman. But Fiona, she's like, oh gosh, fish. ugh, oh, the smell, ugh. So this is hell. Like, oh no. And then since early in the show we heard that she had no soul, so I'm guessing Papa Legba finally found a way to get a hold of a soul, and he has it. It's like he's laughing like, ha 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 ha. You know that creepy laugh villains do when they finally got the upper hand. This is like creepy. You're like, oh damn. And so we have I think it's good that the show ended with Cordelia as the new Supreme, because throughout the season she was the one lacking the less was lacking confidence, because she was constantly trying to prove herself to somebody when she really didn't have to prove herself to nobody but herself. You know, and technically she, out of all the girls, other girls, I think she is also right, because she has been in this a little bit longer, so she has more experience with magic and everything, compared to having the new Supreme be somebody of a younger generation. Because Queenie and Zoe, yes, they have the leadership material, but but for them to be as new Supreme, they would still have a lot to learn. So I don't think it would be good for them to have a new Supreme, because you can't. I mean, technically they're still children, they still act like children, even though they have skills. They still act like children. They're not ready. I don't think, personally, I don't think they was ready to take on that big of a responsibility. So for Cordelia to be the next Supreme was a good idea, and to have them on the council, I think, is a good idea, because they have learned some things, so they could help, the young girls. Queenie will be helpful for young girls and everything, especially for young black girls. Because when you think of witches, the concept of witches has always been white females. Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Charm, which is nothing wrong with that, because witchcraft can traces back to the Druids, which last time I checked was in Europe, thus making them Caucasian. Voodoo traces its roots to Haiti. Then you had with the whole slave trade, you had those Haitians coming to New Orleans, and then you had a uniquely form of voodoo all on its own, combining Christian and Native American and African religions all in one, and that's why you have New Orleans voodoo. It's not the same as Haitian voodoo. It's completely two different things. And so, for that aspect, I think it would be good to have, you know, Queenie on that aspect, helping young black women, the young black witches, help them find their place. Because, when you're used to, when you're a group of when you're a racial group, and you're in your image of in an image you're constantly being bombarded with is a certain race in this position, is usually always in this position, you kind of get discomforted. I mean, yeah, you kind of get, not discomforted, but discouraged to do things. Like I would, yeah, you kind of get discouraged from doing things or pursuing something, because you don't see nobody that physically looks like you doing this. Like, for example, cosplay. I like to cosplay, but majority of the time when you do see people cosplay, it's always Caucasian people, male and female. You always see Caucasians cosplaying, and you rarely see, well, Caucasian and Asians, because obviously cosplay comes from Japan, so of course Asians are cosplay. But anyway, but the point I'm making is, most of the time, anytime you see, even with situations like nerds or the geeks, they're always usually portrayed as the skinny white guy, or not, skinny white guy. Like, for example, the Big Bang Theory, I would have to probably put it as my perfect example. You got Sheldon Cooper type, then you got the Leonard, and then you got the Wallowitz, and then you got Raj, which is the Indian guy, which is the Indian guy. And for Indians, that's usually, this is not a bad stereotype, but usually people of Indian and Asian descent, they're always put in roles where they're the smart character. And so it's just, for Queenie, it would be a good, for Queenie, that situation, for her to be on the dark council, is a good thing for young black females. And for Zoe, she is more, how would I say this? I would say sympathetic. I guess that would be the word I would look for Zoe. She's more sympathetic. She's not mean like Madison was. Like Madison, like, she didn't care about nobody's freaking feelings whatsoever. She didn't give a didn't give two freaking cents. So for Zoe to be on that thing, it'd be good because the girls could have somebody they could talk to. I'm not saying they can't talk to Cordelia, but sometimes girls don't want to talk to adults. Sometimes they want somebody more around their age to talk to. So for Zoe, that'll be a good thing. You know what I'm saying? Helping them to cope with things, or maybe they might have a power similar to Zoe's, and they could relate. She could help them relate to that, because Zoe's power is, she has sex with a male, they freaking die. So maybe one of these girls might have a power like Rogue, where she can't touch somebody, and she needs somebody to relate to that, and it might be Zoe she relates to. So each girl has their purpose on this council. That's the way I see it. And as for the season overall, the entire Coven season, certain episodes were good. They kept the storyline going. There's some parts was just like, is this really needed for the story? Is this really of any importance? But I guess majority of shows are like that, where they have those stagnant episodes where it's kind of like it's just there. It's not really part of the storyline whatsoever, but it's just there. So overall, if I had to give this a grade, the entire season a grade, I would give the grading of a B minus. If I had to grade the entire American Horror Story Coven season, I'll give it a B minus. I thought, it has the ups and it has its downs. So I just want to know what you guys think of this, of the season, of the season overall, or you could comment about your favorite episode or your favorite witch. Or what you thought about Fiona, Maria Laveau, Delphia LaLaurie going to hell, Misty being stuck in hell because she couldn't come back. About Cordelia being the... anything you want to talk about, you could put it in the comments below, or you could leave it on my Twitter, or my... what else I got? Or my Google page. The thing that you also have to have when you sign up for freaking YouTube, the Google page. So yeah, so you guys can comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. And also, don't forget to check out Geeked Out Nation website, written by the fans for the fans. Woohoo! Again, see you guys next time. Bye.